I'm rolling on one and action.
Dan, Debbie found Abu Ahmad.
Fuck, really?
He was in the files this whole time. The family's name is Saeed.
Okay, but he's dead. So doesn't that make him a little less interesting to you?
He may not be. We now know that Abu Ahmad was one of 8 brothers. 3 of them moved to Afghanistan. Sorry, can we talk from the top just real quick? I messed up. Action.
Okay.
Go ahead. Bill, call it,
You want to roll again?
please.
I'm rolling on two and action.
Dan, Debbie found Abu Ahmad.
Fuck, really?
Yeah, he's been in the files the entire time. The family's name is Saeed.
Okay, but he's dead. So doesn't that make him a little less interesting to you?
He may not be. We now know that he was one of 8 brothers. 3 of them moved to Afghanistan. They started to grow beards. Isn't it possible that they all could have started to look alike? When the 3 eldest brothers grew beards in Afghanistan, I think the one calling himself Abu Ahmad is still alive, and the picture that we've been using is all wrong. The one who's dead is his other brother, Haib. He's the one who's dead.
Okay, what's your basing on this?
We have no intercepts on Abu Ahmad dying. We just have a detainee who buried somebody who looked like Abu Ahmad. If somebody as important as Abu Ahmad had died, we would have seen it online, in chat rooms all over the place. Plus, the detainee said that Habib died in 2001. We now know that Abu Ahmad was alive in 2001, trying to get into Tora Bora with Hasid. I mean, that means it's probably one of the other brothers that's dead.
In other words, you want it to be true.
Yes, I fucking want it to be true.
Calm down.
I am calm.
State your request.
Move heaven and earth and bring me that Saeed family's fucking telephone number.
I am rolling on your 3 and action.
Dan, Debbie found Abu Ahmad.
Fuck, really?
Yep, he was in the files this whole time. The family's name is Saeed.
Okay, but he's dead. So doesn't that make him a little less interesting to you?
He may not be. We now know that Abu Ahmad is one of 8 brothers. All the brothers in the family look alike. 3 of them moved to Afghanistan and grew beards. Don't you think it's possible that the one calling himself Abu Ahmad is still alive? The picture that we've been using this whole time is wrong. His brother Haib is the one who's dead.
Okay, what are you basing this on?
We have no intercepts on Abu Ahmad's death. We just have a detainee who buried somebody who looked like Abu Ahmad. But if somebody as important as Abu Ahmad had died, it would have been all over the internet, in chat rooms, on social media. We have no interception of such things. Plus, the detainee said that Habib died in 2001. We now know that Abu Ahmad was alive in 2001. He was trying to get into Tora Bora with Ammar. That means it's probably one of the other brothers who's dead.
In other words, you want it to be true.
Yes, I fucking want this to be true.
Calm down.
I am calm.
State your request.
I want you to move heaven and earth and bring me that Saeed family's fucking telephone number.
I am rolling on the role reversal on 1.
Okay. Dan, Debbie found Abu Ahmed.
Fuck, really?
He was in the files this whole time. The family's name is Saeed.
Okay, but he's dead. Doesn't that make him a little less interesting to you?
He may not be. We now know that Abu Ahmed is one of 8 brothers. All the brothers in the family look alike. 3 of them went to Afghanistan. Isn't it possible that when the 3 eldest brothers grew beards in Afghanistan, they started to look alike? I think the one calling himself Abu Ahmed is still alive. The picture we've been using is wrong. It's of his older brother, Habib. He's the one that's dead.
What are you basing this information on?
We have no intercepts about Abu Habib dying. We just have a detainee who buried somebody who looked like Abu Ahmed. But if someone as important as Abu Ahmed had died, they'd be talking about it online, in chat rooms, all over the place. Plus, the detainee said that Habib died in 2001. We know that Abu Hamid was alive then, trying to get into Tora Bora with Amar. That means it's probably one of the other brothers that's dead.
You want this to be true.
Yes, I fucking want it to be true.
Calm down.
I am calm.
State your request.
Move heaven and earth and bring me this fucking Saeed family's phone number.
And I'm rolling, and I believe this is take 4 on this pairing, and go.
Dan, Debbie found Abu Ahmad.
Fuck, really?
He was in the files this entire time. The family's name is Saeed.
Okay, but he's dead, so doesn't that make him a little less interesting to you?
He may not be. We now know that Abu Ahmad was one of 8 brothers. 3 of them moved to Afghanistan. They all looked alike, and then they grew beards. Do you think it's quite possible that when the 3 eldest brothers grew beards in Afghanistan, that they started to look alike? I think the one calling himself Abu Ahmad is still alive. All right, I'm going to take.
Go ahead.
Okay, take
So-
it from Daniel.
Yeah, just do it.
Oh,
Just pick it up
shit,
from where you got
sorry.
it. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
You want me
He
to
may
start?
not be. All right, Bill. Sorry about
Oh,
that.
okay, you're gonna start there? Okay.
All right, we're gonna
Okay.
Well, I'm going to remind you. You've studied with me long enough to know you never apologize for dropping the line and fucking up. You just pick it up. So in the real world, the editor fixes that up. So I can't have you getting wound up, getting upset because you fucked up. Because that's not. You don't need to do that. You just need to stay calm and carry on. So stop apologizing. If you drop it, pick it up. Get back on the horse. Focus. Keep the energy going. Ready? Stop fucking with me, Diane. Let's go. There we go. We're still rolling. I have not got
Okay.
to roll. There we go.
I'm gonna lead you in with my line before that.
Yeah, Greg.
Yep.
Okay, here we go. Okay,
Go, Greg.
okay, but he's dead. So doesn't that make him a little less interesting to you?
He may not be. We now know that Abu Ahmad was one of 8 brothers. The whole family looked alike. 3 of them moved to Afghanistan. Do you think it's possible that when the 3 of them moved to Afghanistan and all grew beards, that they started to look alike? I think the one calling himself Abu Ahmad is still alive. And the one we found dead is his brother Haid.
Okay, what are you basing this on?
We have no intercepts on Abu Ahmad's death. All we have is just some detainee who buried somebody who looked like Abu Ahmad. But if somebody as important as Abu Ahmad would have died, it would have been all over the internet, in chat rooms and social media. We would have intercepted it somehow. Plus, the detainee said that Habib died in 2001. We now know that Abu Ahmad was alive in 2001. He was trying to sneak into Tora Bora with Hasid. That means that it's probably one of the other brothers instead.
In other words, you want it to be true.
Yes, I fucking want it to be true.
Calm down.
I am calm.
State your request.
I want you to move heaven and earth and get me that fucking Saeed family's telephone number.
No, I am rolling. I believe it's 5 and action.
Dan, Debbie found Abu Ahmad.
Fuck, really?
He's been in the files the entire time. The family's name is Saeed.
Okay, but he's dead. So doesn't that make him a little less interesting to you?
He may not be. We now know that he's one of 8 brothers. The whole family looked alike. 3 of the brothers moved to Afghanistan and grew beards. Don't you think it's a possibility that they might have started looking a little bit more alike? I think the one calling himself Abu Ahmad is still alive. And the one we found dead is his brother, the older one, Habib. He's the dead one.
Okay, what are you basing this on?
We have no intercepts of Abu Ahmad's death. All we have is a detainee who buried somebody who looked like Abu Ahmad. But if somebody as important as Abu Ahmad had died, it would have been all over the internet, in chat rooms, online groups, social media. We would have intercepted it. We found nothing. And we now know that Abu Ahmad was alive in 2001 because he tried sneaking into Tora Bora with Habib Sadiq. We know that for a fact. So I think the one who's dead is his older brother.
In other words, you want it to be true.
Yes, I fucking want it to be true.
Calm down.
I am calm.
State your request.
I want you to move heaven and earth and find me that fucking Saeed's family's telephone number.
I am rolling on your 6 and action.
Dan, Debbie found Abu Ahmad.
Fuck, really?
He's been in the files this entire time. The family's name is Saeed.
Okay, but he's dead. So doesn't that make him a little less interesting to you?
He may not be. We now know that he's one of 8 brothers who all look alike. And 3 of the brothers moved to Afghanistan and grew beards. Don't you think it's possible that they started to look more alike? I think
I'm rolling on 7 and action.
Dan, Debbie found Abu Ahmad.
Fuck, really?
He's been in the files this entire time. The family's name is Saeed.
Okay, but he's dead. So doesn't that make him a little less interesting to you?
He may not be. We now know that he was one of 8 brothers. Families tend to look alike. Then 3 of the brothers moved to Afghanistan and grow beards. Don't you think it's kind of likely that they might start to look a little bit more alike? I think the one they're calling, well, but I just think that the one calling himself Abu Ahmad is still alive. And the one that we found dead and buried was his brother Haib.
Okay, what are you basing this on?
We have no intercepts of Abu Ahmad's death. All we have is just a detainee who buried somebody who looked like Abu Ahmad. Somebody of Abu Ahmad's stature, it would have been, his death would have been all over the media, on the internet, chat rooms, group chats, social media, everywhere. We would have found it everywhere. We found nothing. Plus, the detainee said that Abu Ahmad was alive in 2001, and we know that because he tried sneaking into Tora Bora with Habib Sadat.
Okay. Well, that means it's probably, oh, that was your line, I'm sorry. In other words, you want it to be true.
Yes, I fucking want it to be true.
Calm down.
Bill, please don't let this be our last tape.
What? Rolling on your number one, Mr. Murphy, and action.
Dan, Debbie found Abu Ahmad.
Fuck. Really?
Yeah, he's been in the files this entire time. The family's name is Said.
Okay. But he's dead. So doesn't that make him a little less interesting to you?
He may not be, because we now know that he's one of 8 brothers, a family that all looks alike. 3 of those brothers moved to Afghanistan and grow beards. Excuse me. 3 of those brothers moved to Afghanistan and grow beards. Do you think it's possible that they started to look just a little bit more alike? I think the one who calls himself Abu Ahmed is still alive. And the one that we found dead is his older brother, Habib. He's the one who's dead.
Okay. What are you basing this on?
We have 0 intercepts on Abu Ahmed's death. All we have is a detainee who buried him. And he said he looked like Abu Ahmed. But it's somebody as important as Abu Ahmed had died, it would have been all over the internet, in chat rooms, social media, television. Plus, the detainee said that Abu Ahmed died in 2001, which is impossible because we now know that he was alive in 2001, trying to get into Tora Bora with Habib Sadat. I'm sorry, can we take that from the top? Bill, I'm driving you nuts today.
No, you're fine. You ready, girl?
From the top.
Yes, sir. Go. I am rolling Diane on your Jimmy roll 3 and action.
Dan, Debbie found Abu Ahmad.
Fuck. Really?
He's been in the files this entire time. The family's name is Said.
Okay. But he's dead. So doesn't that make you think he's a little less interesting to you?
He may not be. We now know that Abu Ahmad was one of 8 brothers. Families look alike. 3 of those brothers moved to Afghanistan and grow beards. Do you think it's possible they might have started to look just a little bit more alike? I think the one calling himself Abu Ahmad is still alive. And the one that we found dead is his older brother, Habib. He is the one who's dead.
Okay. What are you basing this on?
We have no intercepts of Abu Ahmad's death. We have no intercepts of Abu Ahmad's death. All we have is one detainee who buried him, and he said he buried somebody who looked like Abu Ahmad. But if somebody as important as Abu Ahmad would have died, don't you think we would have heard about it? It would have been all over the internet, in chat rooms, social media. But we found nothing at all. Plus, the detainee said that Habib had died in 2001. We now know that Abu Ahmad was alive in 2001 because he tried getting into Tora Bora with Ammar. That means it's probably one of his brothers that's dead.
In other words, you want it to be true.
Yes, I fucking want this to be true.
All right, calm down.
I am calm.
State your request.
I want you to move heaven and earth and get me that Saeed family's telephone number immediately.
Salam alaikum.
Rolling and action on 3.
Dan, Debbie found Abu Ahmad.
Fuck. Really?
Yep, he was in the files this entire time. The family's name is Saeed.
Okay. But he's dead. So doesn't that make him a little less interesting to you?
He may not be, because we now know that he was one of 8 brothers. Families tend to look alike. 3 of those brothers moved to Afghanistan and grow beards. They start to look more alike. Okay, do you think it's possible? Do you think it's possible that the one calling himself Abu Ahmad is still alive and the one who died is his older brother Habib?
Okay. What are you basing this on?
We have no intercepts on Abu Ahmad's death. All we have is one detainee who said that he buried somebody who looked like Abu Ahmad.
I know.
Plus, somebody as important as Abu Ahmad dying, he would have been all over the internet. We didn't find anything, not social media groups, chat rooms, nothing. There was nothing to be found. Plus, the detainee said that Habib had died in 2001. We now know that Abu Ahmad was alive in 2001, trying to get into Tora Bora with a C. That means it's probably his brother Habib who's dead. He is the one who's dead.
In other words, you want it to be true.
Yes, I fucking want this to be true.
All right, all right. Calm down.
I am calm.
All right. State your request.
I want you to move heaven and earth and bring me that fucking Saeed family's telephone number immediately.
Assalamu alaikum, baby.
Malaikum assalam.
I'm rolling and action.
Dan, Debbie found Abu Ahmad.
Fuck. Really?
Yeah, he's been in the files this entire time. Family's name is Saeed.
Okay. He's dead. So doesn't that make him a little less interesting to you?
Everything's done. Got it. Got there.
He may not. We now know that Abu Ahmad was one of 8 brothers from a very large family who all looked alike. 3 of those brothers moved to Afghanistan and grew beards. Don't you think it's a little possible that once they moved there and grew the beards, they started to look a little bit more alike? I mean, Plus, I think the one calling himself Abu Ahmad is still alive. And the one who's dead is his older brother Habib. He's the one who's dead.
Okay. What are you basing this on?
Basing on, we have no intercepts of Abu Ahmad's death. All we have is one detainee who said he buried somebody who looked like Abu Ahmad. Plus, don't you think somebody as important as Abu Ahmad, his death would have been publicized? We didn't find it on the internet anywhere. Not in a chat room, not in a social media group, not in a fucking self-help group anywhere. Sorry. Plus, the detainee said Habib had died in 2001. We now know that Abu Ahmad was alive in 2001 because he tried getting into Tora Bora with Hasid Abu Ahmad. That means it's probably one of his brothers instead.
In other words, you want it to be that way. You
Yes,
want
I
it.
fucking want it. Yes, I fucking want it to be that way.
All right, calm down, calm down.
I am calm.
State your request.
I want you to move heaven and earth and get me that Saeed family's telephone number immediately. Sorry about that. That was an act
so-
out.
Shit.
Okay, we are rolling on 4 and action.
Dan, Debbie found Abu Ahmad.
Fuck. Really?
Yeah, apparently he's been in the files the entire time. The family's name is Saeed.
Okay. But he's dead. So doesn't that make him a little less interesting to you?
He may not be. Because we now know that Abu Ahmad was one of 8 brothers. All the brothers in the family look alike. 3 of them went to Afghanistan. Isn't it possible that when the 3 eldest brothers grew beards in Afghanistan, they started to look alike? I think the one calling himself Abu Ahmad is still alive, and the picture we've been using is wrong. It's his older brother, Habib. He's the one who's dead.
Okay, so what are you basing this on?
We have no intercepts on Abu Ahmad's death. All we have is one detainee saying he buried somebody who looked like Abu Ahmad. Plus, don't you think if somebody of Abu Ahmad's stature in the community would have been publicized, his death would have been publicized, it would have been on the internet, in chat rooms, social media groups. We didn't find it anywhere. I think, oh. Sorry, I'm getting another phone call. I'm on the line with my
I'm rolling on 5 and action.
Dan. Debbie found Abu Ahmad.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Fuck.
Apparently, he's been in the files this entire time. The family's name is Saeed.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh, but he's dead.
He may not be,
So
because
doesn't that make him a little less interesting to you?
no, because we now know that he's one of 8 brothers from a large family who all look alike. 3 of them went to Afghanistan. The 3 eldest brothers grew beards. Don't you think it's possible that they started to maybe look a little bit more alike? I think the one calling himself Abu Ahmad is still alive. And the picture we've been using this whole time is totally wrong. It's his brother Habib. He's the one who's dead.
Okay. What are you basing this on?
We have no intercepts of Abu Ahmad's death. All we have is a detainee who buried somebody that looked like Abu Ahmad. But if somebody as important as Abu Ahmad had died, they'd be talking about it online, in chat rooms, all over the place. Plus, the detainee said that Habib had died in 2001. We now know that Abu Ahmad was alive in 2001, trying to get into Tora Bora with the Mar. That means it's probably one of his brothers who's dead.
In other words, you want it to be true.
Yes, I fucking want it to be true.
Calm down, calm down.
I am calm.
All right. State your request.
I want you to move heaven and earth and bring me that Saeed family's telephone number immediately.
Assalamu alaikum.
Malaikum assalam.